Okay, you're watching the Fighting News live. This is our second show this week, Monday and Tuesday. How special is that? We were talking last night with some of the competitors for BYB this Saturday evening, and today we have the creator and founder of BYB, Dada 5000. And we also have Mr. Mike Vazquez with us. And Mike, do you have an official title, CEO, president, or?
I guess I go by president, but we all work real hard together on everything we do. So somebody's got to wear, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So there you have it. There you have it. Mike as the president of BYB. So I know you guys have been working very hard to put this particular show together. Tell us what's going to make this one special compared to the last events that you had.
Well, one of the things that I will say is this. When you look at, everything that we envision from the conception, this is all coming to fruition. That's why I always say that we are the next phase of evolution when it comes down to bare knuckle brawls, and Miami is a special place where it all was created, so we're giving opportunity. We're putting people inside of a position so they can live out their dream, where there's no politics, there's no additives, there's no preservatives. You have hard fought men and women that, understand the importance. And this show, you're going to see a lot of grit, a lot of determination, a lot of skill, and everybody want to be the best. And we're just providing the platform for them to stand on the 15th of May.
Well, we had a private warehouse show last month in April where we joined forces with the guys from Stone Faces for the first time, and we did a slap event. We had an audience, limited audience. It was really a private show just to get acquainted with everybody, and we were happy to see people again. We had a show in December at the Hard Rock, which was actually a really good show, but we didn't have any audience there at all. So we were able to package the show, and we pumped out 1 hour TV episodes, which was something we were testing on. Gave us really great results. We're actually the #1 rated show on beIN Sports for 4 weeks running. So it gave us a little bit of a feel of and growth week after week. So we know that the public is interested in the product, and it's just about getting it out there. So for us, this show at Miami Fairgrounds or at Tamiami Park, that's close to home for me. That was where I grew up, that area of Miami called Westchester. So we're opening up. We have 50% audience. We're hoping people are able to go out there and have a good time with us and see what the BYB and the Trigon Ring's all about and all the bare knuckle action.
Yeah, what is half capacity, Mike?
The way that the ring is configured and with the separation that we're doing and everything else, it's about 960 people. Would be a full audience. Normally, it would be twice that. It'd be over 2,000. Especially if we configured a little bit different. But because of COVID, we used more of the theater for locker rooms, or more of the hall, I should say, for locker rooms and production. We shrunk the theater a little bit, and we're hopeful we get a good audience out there. Miami's a last-minute crowd. But the fairgrounds is a great place. There's a lot of parking, and we're going to have there's full open bar, food and beverages, and of course all the action in the ring. So we're hoping people are vaccinated and happy to get out of their house. Those who aren't, have been careful and can come out and join us anyways. We're just happy to see people again.
Oh yeah, for sure. And how did you two meet, Mike?
It's actually a great story. Dada was introduced to me by Jose Suris, who's a partner of mine. He worked with Pitbull for many years. And, one day we're sitting around. I was actually at Grove Isle, one of Pitbull's old hunting grounds, and hanging out with them. And they tell me, hey, because I worked in NASCAR Mexico, and they knew that I kind of, helped within 3 other guys. We developed the NASCAR Mexico series for NASCAR. So they were familiar with that background, and they said, "Look, we know somebody that you would love, and we think you can help him develop what he's done. Do the same thing, make it a legit sport." So they told me about it. I loved it, and I said, "Well, I'd love to meet Dada." And once I met him, we hit it off immediately. Dada's, absolutely great guy, forward thinker, hard worker. You couldn't ask for a better person, better friend. So we hit it off, and literally that day we were sitting at Monty's. right there in the Grove, having a couple drinks and a couple platters of shrimp and conch fritters and more drinks and more conch fritters. And we came up that night. We came up with our logo. We came up with the ring design, the trigon there behind you.
Wow.
With that, and we really moved a lot real fast. Then we started working towards our first event, which was that a battleship show that we have on our YouTube and website.
Well, one question, Mike. But before you were introduced to Dada, did you know about Dada and the Backyard Brawl? Have you seen all that stuff?
I had never been to the original greenhouse, but I had seen and heard, the phenomenon.
So you know who he was.
Yeah. I was familiar with him, but I wasn't familiar with the whole how everything worked and everything else. And I didn't know Dada personally, but once we met, it's like, all right, what am I going to do? How am I going to clean up, these street fights? But once I met Dada, and I was like, okay, this is, he's forward thinker. He's a hard worker. This is somebody that I could work with. It's not just, a crazy situation. It was actually, there was thought behind the madness, I guess, in the old greenhouse, a lot of thought.
Right. And before we go on, some of the guys last night were talking about the dimensions of the trigon, because we're like, how are you training for that shape of a ring? And one guy said that he actually roped off half of his boxing ring on a diagonal. But what are the dimensions of the trigon?
See, the cage behind you, those are 3 18-foot sides. The actual ring, we made it a little bit bigger. We made it 3 22-foot sides. So the ring ropes are 22 by 22 by 22.
Wow.
It yields 60-degree corners. So we wanted to make sure there was enough room for 2 big heavyweights and a referee. The cage is great. The cage, Wyoming approved it, so did Florida, and it's just enough room, just enough room for 3 guys to move around in there. The ring gives you a little bit better room. Gives you a little bit more visibility as well, through the ring ropes, and you still have those 3 60-degree corners. So the way I tell guys really to train is just like that: cut their ring in half, but also really you should just train by stepping forward, because there's not a lot of stepping back in the trigon. You got to step up, step to the side, a lot of lateral movement back and forth. And but you don't want to go more than 1 step back, or you could end up in one of those corners or against the ring rope. So it really forces the action. And what we always said is we want the fights. These guys train hard. They deserve it. They want to make the best man win. So we want the fights always to be finished by the hands of the fighters and not the judges. So our 3-minute rounds combined with the trigon, more than 90% of the time, fighters finish the events. We only have had 2 fights go the distance in our rings or cage.
Yeah. Now, Dada, who came up with that name, Trigon?
Well, we collectively came up with it because in the backyard, I just called it the triangle, right?
Yeah.
And everything that was associated with the triangle, from the pyramids to the Bermuda to, it's always been at the center of attention and speculation. I think it's one of the most popular shapes ever to be mentioned, and we brought it to fruition. I attempted it in the backyard with National Geographics. They loved it, but it was only so far that I could have go in the backyard. I think that we did a great job, but to get us over the hump, we had to actually, bring on individuals, like-minded individuals that could see the vision, such as, Mike Vazquez, and the rest of the team, Peppy them, and we put it together, and right now I think that what we're offering, you can't get it nowhere else on earth. I call it the mighty trigon because it's more dominant than any other shape, more dominant than the squared circle, the ring, that boxers and wrestlers use, is more dominant than the octagon.
Yeah.
And I tell the fighters all the time, if you cut training, if you don't do what you're supposed to do on fight night, you will get exposed under the bright lights. Just so happened that it's going to be in Miami. So you will get exposed under the bright lights, here in Miami. And I think that, footwork, having good ring IQ is a plus for whoever's inside the mighty trigon, because at the end of the day, all those corners, could be a short night at the office if you get pinned in there by a knowledgeable opponent. One, arguably with a good jab, is over for you. I think the real winners are the fans that get a chance to see this stuff in person. They've heard about the backyard. They've heard about everything associated with it. Now they get to see it on the next level,
Yeah.
cleaned up and polished, and it's all for their enjoyment and entertaining purposes.
Yeah, we saw a guy get knocked out with the jab in your first event right before COVID hit. That was like one of the last live events that we went to.
When you look at the Mighty Trigon ring, right, the advantages that it has is the shapes. So if your opponent has a predator's mind frame and he's gonna cut you off, it's gonna be over quick. Either you're gonna knock him out or he's gonna knock you out, or you're gonna show your skill. It don't give you the luxury to skip round. You can't bring your bicycle in the Mighty Trigon like you can in MMA or in boxing. So yeah, it's the real deal.
What it does is in that shape of the triangle, it creates a fighting circle, right? You and your opponent are front face to face in that circle. If one of you guys step back out of that circle, you just stepped into ring ropes or that corner. So it does force the action. Some of the advantages is clearly the action that what it pushes forward and the different angles. To see the fight from those three different angles. It does present some challenges, depending on the venues. Everything is really built to be four-sided or round or octagon shape. So with the camera angles, it is a little more challenging for production to get things and to get everything covered and for seating arrangements. But we are really, have no issues dealing with all that just to get the end result, which is that confrontation between the two opponents.
Yeah, Leo's watching right now. He was saying last night how actually small it feels once he's inside. Like he was like you got nowhere to run.
Yeah, I want to wish Leo a belated birthday. It was his birthday last week, so we're happy to see it.
Leo.
Happy to see him here.
So we
back
had
in Miami.
We had this guy on last night also, Ryan Michelangelo Favalli. He's a very interesting character. His opponent is Jeff Chiffins.
Yep.
What do we know about Jeff?
Jeff fought in our last card, April 10th at the U.S. versus Russia show, and let me tell you, he showed a lot of grit. He came out, I think it was a third round TKO. But he had a tough little Russian in front of him, and he showed a lot of grit. So we're excited about that matchup. We're excited about all the matchups on that night. Leo is fighting a tough Sam Liera. We got a lot of good matchups, and really the guys that come in to fight to the Trigon, it's a special breed. They're ready to come in and fight. They know there's no dancing around. Some other rings, you can rope a dope all the way around and keep your distance, but there is nowhere to run. So we have, believe it or not, also a lot of fighters that say they want to fight, and then as the days get closer, they start, I think I hurt my shoulder or my hamstring, or so they'll have some second thoughts. But we got some warriors, and Leo is one of those guys. Never shies away from a fight, and really loves it. So we're always happy to see Leo. Yeah,
Leo loves that stuff, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So we had a great idea. So you were talking about stone faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, would there be a possibility, like after the fights are over, you dangle $1,000 to two fighters that just fought, that maybe want to get revenge and do a little slap contest?
That's not a bad idea. We'll see what the state thinks about it. But they've been more than great with us working on the slap stuff. As far as first of all, it just came out of left field. What is this? Where did it come from? How do we regulate this? So we actually created rules for the state that they asked us to create. Followed along a lot of the boxing and MMA as far as preparedness and medical observation. There's no blood work and stuff like that because there's no blood. It's just slapping. But definitely physicals or eye exam or and stuff like that. So we're happy that hold on, my computer just got dark on me. Let me turn the line on. But we're happy that the state's working with us on that, and but that's a good. One of the things is it's actually easier to get guys to bare knuckle box than it is to stand in a table and just wait for somebody to slap you.
Yeah.
You know, because when you're fighting, there's skill, there's move and juking and defense involved. So you bet on yourself, right? You're okay. I'm tough, or I can take this guy on. But when you're just standing at a table waiting for somebody to slap you, I don't know about that. I kind of rather get inside a ring and fight than just wait and be slapped.
Yeah. Where did that idea come from?
We were talking about that the other day. I think COVID created a lot of strange, sports and pastimes because I saw, cornhole on ESPN during as soon as like the first days of COVID when there were no line sports that were turned into all this stuff. And I love playing cornhole and all this other, but as a sport, come on, it's like curling or something. So, but I don't know. It became a phenomenon in Russia. And then it just carried over, here. We had started seeing a lot of people with views, hundreds of thousands, millions of views. But the guys from Russia, they have, regularly 20 million views.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, they're crazy there. They're crazy there anyway.
What were you going to do that, Dada? Is that what you were going to do at the show?
I did give it some thought. I'm game for a lot of things, but like Mike says, it takes a special type of person, man, to just stand across that table, knowing someone is going to tee off on you and you can't react. So that's a whole other level of discipline, So I don't know if I have that level of discipline yet, but it was definitely something that I got to watch a little bit more of it, man, because everybody that I seen got hit, at our last show, they went out like a light.
Yeah. Or were you going to fight bare knuckle?
I'll do that hands down. 10 times quicker than the slap.
Mike, you think we can get an opponent for Dada?
There'll be people lined up that want to fight Dada. Absolutely. I think a lot of fighters are going to want to show their stuff and try to make a name for themselves. With Dada, if he did want to come back to the ring, first thing, and I've had this conversation with him before. He's a friend first and foremost. And I care about him as far as for business. It would be a no-brainer to put an event for Dada. But he's my friend first and foremost, and I care for him and his health. If he ultimately makes that decision, it'd be his decision, and he'd have to reinforce that with medical clearance and everything else. And if that happens, then I wouldn't be anybody to stand in his way. But I would rest assured there'd be tons of guys that would want to come out and try to make a name. It's just, for him to come back, smart and get some, warm-up fights going and then build towards some kind of, a big name fight. It really didn't get any bigger than fighting Kimbo Slice at Houston in front of, I think it was 19,000 people. We had over 2 million people tuning in on TV. It was a record event for Bellator. And if you go through the fight, I know a lot of people who don't know or just, read a clipping or read it, didn't really see the fight. That fight, many people didn't think it was going to go out of the first round. They didn't give Dada any kind of credit to begin with. And Dada came out of that first round and he took it to Kimbo right, straight away. Elbow, kick, knee to the fence, more elbows. Kimbo had to take him to the ground. And then that's where I think the referee made a mistake. He kept them in a bear hug for over 2.5 minutes of that first round. So they both spent a lot of energy. There was no action. That fight was supposed to be a brawl. It was supposed to be a backyard brawl, like what they both were known for. And I think, rest in peace, Kimbo's, great person. But I think him and his team knew that. They didn't want to make it a brawl. They wanted to try to use his MMA advantage, or experience to an advantage. So every time Dada got in front of him and started slinging, Kimbo would take him down to the ground. And really, if it wasn't for Dada having health issues in that third round, there was a moment there in the third round. I would have given the first round to Dada hands down. Second round could have gone either way. But that third round, if you look at the fight again, Kimbo was on all fours. And it looked to me like he, that's it. He realized that was it. He was gassed. And Dada couldn't muster a punch. He couldn't hit him with an uppercut he could basically hit him with the back of the hand. And that's when the referee stood him up and Kimbo hit Dada twice. Dada went to throw a punch and fell forward and fell on his and fractured his orbital bone. So that's how the fight ended. It was Dada throwing a punch and fell forward because his body just he had no more to give.
Yeah.
It was a miracle that he survived and that he's with us today.
You know, another thing that I would say is this, right? That, you know, and I was telling Mike this earlier. I said, man, you know, the reason why, you know, I call myself Dada 5000 is because the 5,000 and we're just in 2021. So I feel like I'm still 279,000 light years ahead of a lot of other people out there, right? And for me to come back, you know what I'm saying? I owe that one to the fans that been rolling with me in the backyard and on this next journey with BYB since day one. You know, and you're right. A lot of people would love to fight because, hey, they wanted to fight Kimbo. He's no longer here. Dada 5000 is the next thing. This is the next great, you know, option. You know, so it's like, you know, for me, you know, I just feel like I know for a fact what I'm good at. I don't think that is a fighter on the planet that can market himself in a competition as well as me, you know, and it's just about, you know, man, me just putting the things together, you know, and making sure I cross my T's and dot my I's, you know, and get cleared, you know, and the rest, you know, will be history. Then I sit down with the team and we'll bring it, you know what I'm saying, to fruition, you know, but yeah, it'll be a lot of fun to be able to come back, you know. I mean, yo, I mean, I'm getting excited already, and that's not even something we really talked about. But you know, it'll be. I think, hate it or love it, trash talk or whatever, they're gonna be glued, or they're gonna glued to their TVs, or they're gonna come out and attend this.
Right. Right. For sure.
Yeah.
And the reason why I ask if you're going to come back is because let me just share this screen with you. Hold on.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Yeah, hey, the anticipation is building over here.
So I see you in the forefront of the flyer for May 15th, and I'm like, when I see it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get to see Dada again. So you know, I get real excited, and that's why, you know, I don't know if I'm the only one, but you know, maybe other people think that as well. You know, that they get to see you, you know, actually in
I
the ring
tell you,
because you are such an exciting
listen,
fighter.
I tell you like this, Steve-O. You know, I'm gonna make an announcement at the fight. And I really want everybody to understand that, you know, any decisions that are made, you know, you have just like when Mike Tyson was in his heyday, we all was glued into the TV. Then he left and then he came back. It didn't matter if he was 60 years old. People would have still wanted to see him, especially the younger individuals. You know, so everything that went into where we're at right now, you know, is amazing. The road from the backyard to where we're at is just as interesting as getting to where we're at. A lot of individuals don't know. That's what character and confidence and people, you know, are inspired in your journey. You know, if they only knew half of the things that transpired inside the backyard, you know, we never gave up, we never quit, we never backed down, you know, and we always moved inside of a productive, positive manner. You know, the easiest thing that we could ever do in life is to give up. You know, we've seen some, you know, obstacles in the way, you know, those that we, you know, couldn't run through or we couldn't push, we used this and we still got around it. It's more than one way to skin a cat, you know, and I feel that, man, right now, you know, we're on 10 as we continue, you know, to move forward. You know, I'm looking here and we made the Trigon into a reality. So I got to say thank you again on that, you know, Mike. From the ESPN, from everything, these individuals were moved by what they heard because they haven't seen it at that point. But they were moved to say, hey, I'm going to come down to sunny South Florida and see what all this hype is about. And that's how, you know what I'm saying, we started really hitting them hard from the E60s and the Maxims, etc. So now on, COVID hurt us all a lot, you know, so now that we got an opportunity, you know, to come back, you know, it's going to be epic, you know, and I want everybody I'm inviting everybody to come out with us on this journey, as we embark on the next phase of evolution, because any and everything that you see out there right now, it doesn't matter who's doing it. Don't be naive, to think that they haven't taken a page out of the book that we have, put together. So it's like we was an author before, we even knew what we were doing. When I started doing this back then, it was real simple. I said, we're going to do these fights and we're going to put them. We had MySpace back then. We didn't have no YouTube, none of that, right? So It's like I say, we're going to do this. We're going to put snippets. I didn't even know where we were going to put snippets at, but it was here. Just had to figure it out. We had to start from somewhere, right? So as we continue to move on, and once we got, here is like, okay, now we need help. Couldn't ask for a better, business partner, than Mike Vazquez. I mean, very knowledgeable industry insider, and he got us over that hump, and right now, just think, Autobots, how they come together, and they dominate everything that stands, before them. We got the history, we have the resume, we have the credibility, and top 5, worldwide. You can't mention bare knuckle fighting if BYB Extreme is not coming out in your opening sentence. We have articles that go back from 07.
Yeah.
07 to the viewers out there, because most of them, these new millennials, etc., 07, right? 08, 09, we've been pushing, when Kimbo Slice, RIP to him, when he came out in 2000, latter end of 2005, 2006, when he fought the dude Big D. Nobody on the planet was hotter than him. You know what I'm saying? This was a taboo subject. It was never heard of. So what we did was we played the innovative part to it, and we took it a step further and made it into a league, just like back in the days when people used to say, hey, horses will one day be obsolete. People couldn't see it, and it's not their fault because it wasn't their vision. But now, we use them for sports racing, we use them for racing, we use them for transportation, and everything. So with bare knuckle fighting, I knew that one day it would become, obsolete. And I'm just proud that we have the documentation, to prove it. I don't know nobody else out there that could show any type of documentation, from 2007 or 2008, and y'all can't see it. But when you look at the dates up here, this right here is from 2008. We have stuff from 2007, up until now. So at the end of the day, I feel comfortable. We feel comfortable because we have poured a solid foundation. We all know, the structure of a building is only as good as the foundation that it was poured upon.
Yeah. So let's talk about that foundation. So who do you have in the main event this Saturday?
We've got plugged in. Leo Pla is going to be in the main event with Sam Lira.
So that's a big fight for Leo. Is main event.
Yeah, absolutely. Leo's definitely earned the right. He's always exciting. Always had a lot of exciting fights. We had Jomi. Unfortunately, the COVID thing really has taken a turn with the travel. The travel restrictions and whatnot. We had as our main event, we had Luis Melo, a Brazilian Luis Melo was going to fight Jomi Escoboza. Unfortunately, the travel restrictions have just got heavier in Brazil because of, I guess, the second round of COVID that's going around down there. It's not enabling him to get down here in time. So we had to make a change on that fight. He's going to be fighting Roger Hummel. So we had to make that. So we pulled it down from the main event, but that was going to be the main event that evening. But we got a full night of fights. Jordan Mitchell fighting Dwayne Crespo. Robert Fuller fighting Kobe Bowen. They were both on our December card.
Yeah, we saw Kobe.
J.D. Burns with Carl Jefferson. Carlos Lopez, Carlos Lopez. He fought also on our December card. He's taking on Willie Sears. I believe you spoke to Willie already.
Yep.
Yeah, we met Carlos too.
Yep. And then we have Pablo Caballero fighting John Birdsong. Pablo fought on I think it was the March card, and he also fought in our April event just a few weeks. Actually, no, he didn't fight in the other. Carlos Guerra fought in the April event. Pablo is a 135-pounder, Argentinian guy, real good hands, great personality, and he's fighting a tough John Birdsong, who's also very crafty, very strong for his size, cuts a lot of weight, and it really comes in strong. So, I mean, it's going to be a great night of fights. You know, the third man in the ring really is the Trigon, so that's pushes, like I said, pushes the action. But
yeah. We saw you signed Pink Tyson. The Spartan.
Yeah, we did. We had her tagged for this event. Fortunately, her visa was approved today. Unfortunately, it wasn't approved last week.
Yeah.
So she has to travel to the embassy and turn in the passport. It takes a couple days to make the appointment. So she's not going to be able to participate in this card, which is terrible because she had a walk-in dress ready. She was coming in a beautiful pink gown. She showed me on social media and whatnot. So she was ready to go against the very game Christine Stanley, which we absolutely love Christine.
Yeah.
So we actually thought about doing bringing up a backup. She had fought Tanya Burton. I don't know if you remember Tanya Lionheart in the ring behind you at Wyoming. That fight has over 1 million views on YouTube. It was a great fight. But we really hate to put athletes in a last minute predicament like that, changing a fight on somebody, or trying to bring in somebody at the last minute who's going to come in less than 100%. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to the audience. So we decided to scrap the fight and move it towards July, and really build a strong card around July, where Jomi will face Luis Melo. Renee Whiteboy, who fought in April, will face Matt Delanoit. That's going to be an absolutely wild fight. And we have a few others lined up for the July card, which is going to be fantastic.
So we can't wait for that. We were talking last night also, a bunch of the fighters are fighting on the card this Saturday. As far as championship belts go in BYB, what do you guys think of getting a couple belts out there and naming a champion?
We actually have a couple belts. We started the 185 tournament. We started it at the March show, which, like you said, Matt, was the last show in Florida before COVID. It was actually the last boxing event the state held before COVID shut down. So we announced the tournament there. We had the belt there and everything. We should have already announced the winner. We had 4 events scheduled last year at the Hard Rock. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we only had 2. Now we were going to move ahead with the semifinal rounds. It's actually 4 men left in that tournament: Jomi Escoboza, Luis Melo, Matt Delanoit, and Renee Whiteboy Rodriguez.
Yeah.
So in July, those 4 guys will finally face off, and we will know who the 2 finalists are for the belt that we should be fighting for in September, assuming everybody's healthy. So
all right.
So this last card that we put together in April kind of changed everything around, because Renee wanted to fight on that card. He wanted to fight a Russian. And we gave him the opportunity, made the most of it. He had a great fight. So we'll have that together. And actually, the girls' belt at 135 was going to be between Kalia and Christine Stanley this weekend as well. So we have we have the belts. We're just waiting to finally put the cards, the fights together.
Yeah, well, that sounds great.
Yeah.
But don't you just love women fighting? They really they're
ready to go.
They're super aggressive.
They're ready to go.
Great show. Great to watch.
Once you turn them on, there is no turning them off. I mean, it don't matter if it's an injury, it's whatever it is. They just want to keep fighting, and they really put exciting fights together. Christine has given us some really exciting fights. The Lionheart again with Tanya Burton, great young fighter. They faced off in Wyoming and went 3 rounds. Our girls do fight 2 minutes. Just because the state, they'd love to fight 3 minutes, but the state requires it 2 minutes. Yeah. But they went full 3 rounds there, and Stanley also fought in the March card last year for us, and it's been extremely hard to find her an opponent, a quality opponent. People don't want to fight her. I mean, it's I'm 170, she's 135. I wouldn't fight her. So I can't blame, you know, a lot of girls that don't want to get in the ring with her. So it's really tough. Now you run into somebody like Kalia, who's absolutely just a freak of nature, a warrior. It's in her mindset. She's a Spartan warrior. She's absolutely ready to go. She's not afraid. She'd probably fight Dada if we gave her the chance to. So I mean, she's really not afraid of anybody either. So it puts up for a great fight. It's kind of sad that we I'd like to see them kind of come through two different trees and face each other, take on a couple different opponents, but it's very hard. You can get girls that just look good, and but if you want girls that fight and look good but fight, it's really hard to get girls like that to fight Christine Stanley or a Kalia. So we're looking abroad. We got a couple of girls from Mexico that are always game. Mexicans are pretty game for everything, especially an opportunity in the States. So we're looking around. We're bringing some opportunities as well.
Argentina has a bunch of female good fighters, aggressive. That's the place to go.
Okay.
And Mexico too, but Argentina has a lot of them. And we see that in the local boxing events. The opponents that they bring in, mostly male from Argentina, always put on better shows than the B side of that are American fighters.
Mm-hmm.
They always do. They just have it in their blood.
Well,
when I look at Christine Stanley, whoever her opponent is, they're gonna pack lunch, and she is cerebral with her thinking, and she's a legitimate star,
Yeah, I agree with you. She's fun to watch, but I think we're losing his sound.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Now you are, yes.
And when you say Knucklemania Stanley, right? And when you see her knuckles are really big, right? And it's just catchy. She has all the right components to be a legitimate star. She shows up, she shows out every time. Every opponent has left in a puddle of blood, and she says, Dada, you guys might as well give me that belt because there's no one that's going to beat me for it. And it was something in her voice that I believed. I could be wrong. And anybody that's tough enough to step inside there with Christine Knuckles, listen, I'm taking my hat off, just for you even getting in the ring.
Yeah.
But she's got such a kind of a tough look and feel to her. But you never know. She's just such a nice person. But when she got introduced against Tanya Burton, Tanya was introduced and she was, I believe, an Air Force veteran. So, of course, everybody wants to thank her for her service and be proud of her. And then she got introduced and she comes in and they were booing her in Wyoming because, she was fighting an Air Force veteran. But, so she comes in, she's also just giving everybody the finger. It didn't bother her. She gave everybody the finger, says, all right. She put her money where her mouth was and, got the victory, won over the crowd instantaneously. At the end of the fight, everybody was cheering for her. So it's just she's just so fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Pink Tyson will give her a good fight. She's game. She's a very game fighter.
She's a very game and she's a very technical fighter. So it will be one of those that edge of your seat kind of fights because if you go for the grittiness and the bare knuckle experience, you give it to Christine.
Yeah.
If it turns into more of a boxing match, then you'd give the edge to Kalia, who has more of the boxing experience. So it really depends what the girls turn it into. You can draw it out on paper one way, but when they get in that ring and that bell rings, that just goes out the window. So it really depends on what kind of style they fight. I haven't really seen a comparison on the reach and stuff like that to get too technical on it because a fight like this, I don't think it really matters. I think it just, who's going to outgut the other one.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to or any last minute things you want the fans to know about the event?
Well, definitely, if they want to get tickets, join us at the fairgrounds in Miami, Florida. That's at bybtickets.com. They start at $25. They're great seats. It's going to be a good night. Also, we have our sponsor, bmcham.com. They sell gold and silver with everything going on, and Bitcoin and all this crazy stuff going on. You can't go wrong with gold and silver. So they're real great to have on board. And just if they can follow us on our social media and on YouTube at bybextreme.com, it just helps us. We're South Florida local fighting company with relationships now that hopefully will take us around the U.S. and the world with the Hard Rock. But it all started down here in South Florida. There's a reason everybody wants to bring their fight now down here to South Florida, and we're just happy to represent everybody down here.
All right. Very good. Sounds good. And Dada, any last minute words from you?
I mean, Mike just pretty much, summed it up. Listen, again, this is the foundation. This is where the phenomenon with bare knuckle fighting started. It doesn't matter where anybody, take it to. Everybody wants to come, and conquer Miami, because you're not doing it unless you're doing it in Miami on the level of its conception. So I just want to say shout out to all of the fans, shout out to all of the supporters, shout out, to the team, shout out to everyone who believed that this day would become a reality. And as we move forward, to continue that trail of fire that we set ablaze in the backyard that's going to take us all over the world. This is something, that's real, it's raw, and it's authentic, and you cannot say bare knuckle anywhere in the world if BYB or Dada 5000 is not coming out in your opening sentence. Get out, get your tickets. This is going to be an awesome night of extreme entertainment that, you can't find nowhere else. This is something that you have to definitely come out and experience, and I'll see everybody this Saturday at the Fair and Expo down here in Miami, Florida.
Let's go. We wish you a great show. Matt's going to be going, right, Matt?
Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna have one of the girls that interviews with us. We'll interview the fighters after the show, like we did last time there, and take some photographs ringside and stuff like that, and put something together afterwards. It's a great time. It's always a great time at BYB, and again, I hope to see a lot of people, a lot of our fans, Fight News fans down there as well, because the COVID thing is getting a lot better, as you know, and these shows are hot, man. They're hot, so come on down.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Thanks for being on the show. Mike, Dada, wish you a great show. Wish you lots of knockouts. And we'll talk after the show.
Hey, really quick, I want to say this, that we have a 97, 98% KO rate. We're going to keep that tradition, alive. I like everybody to get knocked out. I'm saying it right here. I like everybody to get knocked out.
Yeah. That's why people tune in. Blood, knockouts, and action, So for sure. Tune in. Like they said, BYB Extreme, bybtickets.com. Follow Dada on Instagram at the real Dada 5000. Not those imitators. You have a lot of copycats on Instagram. Wow.
Hey, listen, no joke. The accounts are crazy.
Yeah.
And
check out Mike at BYB Extreme. And thanks so much, guys, for coming on.
Thank you, guys. Look forward to seeing you Saturday night.
You got
Definitely.
it.
We'll be there.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
So, Matt, sounds good. They got a great event. Leo Pla's going to be the main event. Let's go, Leo! So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing Ryan. I'm looking forward to seeing Birdsall, all those guys.
Yeah, man. So it's pretty exciting, and make sure everyone tunes in. If you want to buy tickets again, it's bybtickets.com. You can purchase tickets It's not going to be a crazy crowd with thousands and thousands of people. Like they said, they're going to keep it nice and small.
Right, half capacity, whatever.
Half
So
capacity.
yeah.
So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be
Right.
good.
Or watch it on the streaming channel. There.
Make sure you buy a shirt. Brawl, bare knuckle.
The shirts are hot.
Shirts are hot. So what else, Matt? So this weekend we got 2 events we're covering. We're covering BYB, which is the 5th show, BYB 5.
Yes.
And we're covering Rise.
Rise.
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
Rise is at a good place.
Yeah, it's at the Extreme Action Park with
Extreme Action Park. Yep.
Yeah. So fight fans are definitely familiar with that place. And yeah, they're going to be 2 good shows.
Yes, sir.
Luckily, there's enough of us to go around. And it's going to be good. Good weekend. Good fights. Good times.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Check out our other avenues at the Fighting News on Facebook, _fighting_news on Instagram, Twitter, The Fighting News, and of course our website where Matt writes these great articles and writes up a bunch of articles on fighters, thefightingnews.com. Subscribe to thefightingnews.com. You can get every great article that Matt writes right into your mailbox, and you can read it right there. Also, news you can get on the website as well by signing up. And the most exciting videos there are out there about fighting, about combat sports, is on our YouTube channel, which is, of course, youtube.com/thefightingnews. We have great videos. We have live interviews with famous people, famous MMA people, famous boxing people, famous jiu-jitsu people. The list just goes on and on. The current UFC champion, Kamaru Usman, we interviewed. The former champion, Sugar Rashad Evans, we interviewed. So, I mean, the list goes on and on, Matt.
I've seen it. I've seen it once or twice. I've been on there.
Yeah, so check it out. Like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Write a comment here and there. Matt sometimes answers them. I sometimes answer. Mike sometimes answers. And then most of the time, just other fans mention, answer. So,
if they're good comments, if they're junk, then, we're just going to ignore them. But
yeah, and if you have, if you're a comedian, put some funny ones on there because those are my favorite.
Yeah, we'll go back and forth with you. Why not?
Yeah, my favorite is the Let's Go Champ video, which we have over 3.5 million hits. And when I say that, I say million. 3.5 million hits. It went viral. It's one of the videos that went viral on our station. And, guys, keep liking it, keep watching it, keep sharing it, because you guys watching our videos helps us out. And we really appreciate it. So if you have good content, send it to thefightingnews@gmail.com. And, you might go up on there. Any good videos that you think might go viral, send them to us. How about that?
That's right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Adios.
Deuces.